Hello to all the random people out there who may or may not have accidentally clicked on this video. And I can officially say welcome back, because this is my second video on this channel. So hi! If you didn't see my first video, I guess welcome to my channel. My name is Kathy, and like I already said, this is my channel. In the last video we talked about the afterlife, reincarnation. So I thought, why not talk about another very popular opinion on the topic, the afterlife, which is heaven and hell. Probably all of you know what that means, but I'm gonna talk about the basics of it and present you my opinion about it. So let's go ahead and start this video. Let's talk about the afterlife, heaven and hell. As you may know, this theory is mostly presented in Christianity and Judaism, but also has a few aspects of it in Greek mythology. But first, let's start with Christianity. The overall belief for Christian people is after your body gives up, your soul is going to get judged by God or his angels. I'm not quite sure right now. By God or his angels, based on their actions and decisions in their lifetime. So if they were a good human being, then they are going to get sent to heaven, and if they were evil or had bad intentions, maybe even murdered people, they are going to hell. At the first look at it, it seems pretty fair, right? Well, you're wrong. Because it's not that easy. It's not everything is black and white, first of all. If you think about people killing people, you are automatically thinking they are bad, right? That doesn't have to be the case. I mean, if you think about it, if a person killed someone in self-defense, they still killed a person, but they did it to survive. So, was it a bad action or was it a good action? That's not that sure. So we are lucky that we don't have to judge people if they go to hell or heaven. For some people it's very easy to say, yeah, you are obviously going to hell, or you are obviously going to heaven because you're a saint, but for others it's not that easy. So we can be happy to not be the judge in that case. But there is a point that is very unfair. I think it's very unfair. Because it's not just if you do good things, you're going to heaven, and if you do bad things, you're going to hell. That's not the only aspect that's gonna get judged. The other thing is, do you believe in God? So, if you didn't believe in God, your life, or lost faith in God while living, which is for me the case, you are going to hell. Because you didn't believe in God. Because the people who do not believe in God are going to hell. So you can be the perfectly perfect, totally nice human being. Very nice and did everything right, never did anyone harm, did nothing wrong in your whole lifetime, but because you don't believe in God, you're going to hell. I don't know what you think, but to me that seems pretty unfair. Like, some people have their reasons for stop believing in God, and it's understandable because he's not really present in our lives. Yeah, if you believe in God, you probably feel like he's present for you, but for other people it's just they live their life doing everything right, but don't really believe in God because you don't feel him, you can't see him, you can't hear him. How are you supposed to act like he's there? So for me, for example, I was raised Christian, my whole family is Christian. I did the whole thing with the water on your head when I was young, after I was born, so I didn't really do that, my parents did that. I did all that, But when I really needed him, the God you're talking about, he didn't help me. And if he exists, I mean, it makes sense that he didn't help me because he has too many human beings to take care of. He can't take care of one person. Maybe it was a challenge for me. I talk like I believe in him, but I don't really believe in him or her or it. Who knows? Yeah, but after something happened, I fell into a hole. So it took a while to get out of there, and it still isn't easy, and that's why I lost faith. Christianity isn't really the religion for me. When I was growing up, I was in a Christian elementary school. I don't know how it is in your country if you have something like that, but we have Christian elementary schools. Part of our school was we were taught in many stories from the Bible. So, I mean, I really love the stories, but that's because I love fantasy all my life. Because that's all what it was for me. They were just stories about miracles and stuff like that, but I always loved stuff like that. I am fascinated by stuff like that. These are just my favorite things, so I love the stories. Not because I thought they were real, but because I thought they were stories, and I love stories. So yeah, Christianity isn't really the thing for me. But the concept of bad people being judged after their lifetime, I have to admit I like it, because sometimes it seems like people don't get the punishment they deserve. Or people who did very terrible things didn't really get the punishment they deserve. So the idea of those people being judged after death seems pretty good to me. But just the teeny tiny thing with the faith and with the belief in God just doesn't seem right to me, because it feels a little bit like, I don't know what of a child you were, but when I was young, I got into fights with my mom all the time, like scream fights, not physical fights, obviously. And then I screamed at her, sometimes even just because we were not sharing the same opinion. Sometimes I would scream, that's dumb, but I would scream at her because we wouldn't share the same opinion and I was thinking something else. So that kind of seems to me, and again, I don't want to offend anyone, but it kind of seems to me like that God is someone who is really offended by you if you don't believe in him, just because you didn't believe in him. And he's like, if you don't believe in me, you're going to hell because you don't believe in me. And that seems a little bit unfair to me, because if you were a good human being, I think you belong into heaven, if that exists. But that's just my opinion. And there's also, in Christianity, is also the so-called Judgment Day, which is talked about in the Bible. This day is the day Jesus is coming back to earth from heaven and is going to judge all people based on if they were good or bad in their lifetime. But again, not just that, but also based on their belief. And again, so if you don't believe in God, if you followed another religion, or didn't believe in God because you couldn't see him and you were like a scientist thinker, you just believe in things you can have proof for, then you're going to hell. And that's just pretty unfair. I don't know. What do you think? Tell it me down in the comments. What is your opinion about that? Let's move on to a little bit lighter topic, which is heaven and hell in Greek mythology. It's not really heaven and hell. It's, first of all, kingdom. All people, all souls of dead people are going to go into the underworld. The kingdom of Hades, the Greek god of the underworld. All you Percy Jackson fans obviously know who that is, and many of you others should also know who Hades is. All that people go there, and then they are going to get judged by 3 of Hades' employees? I guess you can say employees. What would you else say to them? And the names of them are Minos, Radamantur, and Aeacus. I'm not quite sure if I pronounced them wrong. Yeah, maybe I pronounced them wrong, maybe I pronounced them right. I definitely don't pronounce them the English way, so... And there is no real thing of heaven, but the heroes, so the Greek heroes, the Greek mythology heroes, all go to a city called Elysium. I think so. Again, have no idea how to pronounce it, but who really knows? And this city is like paradise. But not just heroes go there, but also people who are given immortality by the gods. So the people who served the gods good enough, so they say, yeah, you are gonna be immortal. Like that. So the people who live in this city don't have to work and have a easy afterlife. They don't have to worry about anything and can just drink all day. I guess. Drink and party all day. That's the overall cliche of this city, that they drink and party all day and just live their afterlife very easily. And those people who weren't heroes, they don't really get a real punishment as you would think. Like, for example, hell, they aren't really getting tortured or anything like that. More like they live in the underworld, not really at a place, but in the whole underworld, flying around in their ghosty bodies and flying around without really knowing what's going on around them or who they even are. They all forget that and just, I mean, it's kind of a punishment, because who are you if you don't know who you are? I mean, who is that person then? You are not living, you are just flowing around. It's kind of even worse than being tortured, because you are not aware of anything, and just at least when you are getting tortured, you know what's going on, kind of. So, and since I don't know about you, but for me, knowledge is something very important, and at least knowing who I am is very important to me. So it seems a little bit, you know, torturous, kind of. Even though it's not really torturing, it's kind of still torturing, if you get what I mean. If you don't, just ignore it. And then there's also the river Styx, if you know it. It's the river of souls, where all the doomed souls are in, flowing around, not really knowing what's going on, and being like very sad, very angry. If you watched Greek mythology movies, when they are going into the underworld and you saw the Styx, you know what I mean. It's kind of very creepy. All these souls trying to grab you into the sea, and it's interesting and very creepy, to say the least. But again, there are no real evidence for heaven and hell. Same goes for reincarnation, which I talked about in the last video. We don't really have proof for that, except if you see it as a proof. I'm not quite sure about that, if you would think about it as a proof. Have you ever heard about near-death experiences? I mean, I guess you have, because who hasn't? But in case you didn't hear about it, it's people who died for or were near death, like the phrase near-death experience already says. Their heart stopped beating for a few seconds, maybe up to a minute, and in this time frame they say they were visiting heaven or hell, or were on the way to heaven or hell. Some people talk about going into the light, feeling all very light and all relaxed and happy while going into the light, maybe even seeing loved ones deceased. And others talk about being in the darkness in a very hot room, surrounded by nothing, and feeling just pain and feeling desperate, which sounds like they were going to heaven and hell. But if you can believe that they were really going into there, or if they were hallucinating because their brain was shutting off, their organs were shutting off, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, I don't know what's going on in their brains, but I could imagine that they are just hallucinating it as some kind of escape for the brain. That could be the case. So, who knows? But since I've never died and came back, I can tell you what they were thinking. It's because they were already believing in God, and that's why they hallucinated all that while dying. Maybe that's the case. But since no one really ever died for like a day or more than that and then came back, we are probably never gonna know what's happening after death, because when you're dead, and you can't come back and tell everyone. If something's happening after death, you are, or I am probably gonna know after I'm dead, but I'm not gonna be able to tell anyone. Same goes for you, so living humanity will probably never know what's happening to them after that. In the next video I'm going to talk about a few other concepts of the afterlife, like for example the concept of the atheist, which you don't really can talk about because it's, yeah, you will see in the next video what it is, but if you don't know, but I guess you already know. Till then, stay tuned, and if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think about this topic, and if you liked it, we'll probably, hopefully, see each other in the next video. So